Great to see everybody here this morning. I just love these meetings. I appreciate everybody coming. We've got a lot of really good information for y'all. And so without further ado, I'm Jackie Vargas. I direct the Building Coordinator Program. And my staff up there, Jennifer Ray and Yvonne Hernandez, are a huge part of the success of these meetings. So I want to thank them. Before we get started into the program, like I said, we have a lot of really interesting information, and I think it'll be really helpful. I want to introduce, we have a brand new member to our facilities team, and he's leading, guiding, and directing the facilities planning and construction offices, and his name is Jim Wofford. If you would please stand, he's brand new. We did a news release about him and just wanted to introduce him to y'all this morning. But he's in his office a lot and out on campus. If you see him, you'll know his face now and you can say hello to him. But he's been a great addition to our facilities team, so welcome. So let's go ahead and get started. This morning, first off, we're going to hear from David Oliver. He's our Associate Vice Chancellor, Associate Vice President for Facilities. And he wants to come talk to you about just some additional information, some information I think will be really helpful to you. I've learned a lot from working with the presentation with him. So without further ado on that, let's go ahead and introduce David Oliver.
Test, test, test.
Can y'all hear it?
Test, test.
So it's only receiving in me, it's not coming in through the speakers.
Okay. So if you want to talk. Sorry, Steve.
I'll just speak loud. Whoa. I tend to wander, so I have a loud voice, so hopefully everybody can hear me. Anybody can't, let me know. Well, good morning, everyone. I really appreciate the building coordinators. I think that you guys serve a purpose that is unique in communicating what's going on with facilities, especially when we get into outages, projects. I think that your role really helps us to understand what's going on in the buildings as well. So I really want to emphasize how much we appreciate your help in dealing with all the numerous issues that we have in 156 buildings and 13.5 million square feet of space. I wanted this morning to talk a little bit about some of the projects we've got going on. We've got a very active program. That we were given monies for, TRB monies. That is our state legislative monies that we were given last summer by the state legislature. $862 million, a very generous allocation. With that, we are going to be doing a lot of projects, both here on the campus and down at other components. That is why Jim's presence is so important, because he will be managing, and his project managers will be managing these projects moving forward. Here's some of the projects I think we've got, and I have real estate here too, so if you have any real estate questions, I have the right people there. But we have a lot of projects. First one, we have a downtown campus STEM buildings going up. This is going to go on to 17 new acres. We are buying 17 acres of property adjacent to the campus. We are, I think, closing today. Is that correct? Maybe. Knock on wood. So we will own 17 acres downtown, and we will be building a new STEM building on that property. Total value is $68 million. So it is a significant investment in our downtown campus. We are also expanding our Clear Lake Pearland campus. We currently have one building. We were recently gifted a sizable chunk of land, 20 some odd acres, I believe. And the legislature gave us money to put another building down there, so we will be building a new building. It's primarily health related, I believe. It's going to be several health related programs will be going into that building. It is a Clear Lake campus. It's a very nice upgrade to that campus. We're literally doubling the number of buildings there. Clear Lake was very generous. They had 3 projects that we're doing on the Clear Lake campus itself. They're getting a new STEM building, $66 million worth. Again, a very nice building. They also got monies for a recreation center, a $38 million recreation center. We've got a new freshman housing project that's going up. They're becoming a 4-year campus. They're trying to transition out of purely a commuter school to a destination campus. So three buildings, as you can see, a sizable, what's that, over $126 million worth of work on the Clear Lake campus. So a sizable upgrade on the facilities in Clear Lake. Victoria, as you can see, Victoria was also very generous. They had 3 new buildings in Victoria. We have a new STEM building there as well. You might see a trend there, the STEM building. So again, a third new science technology building. Anybody know what STEM is? Hopefully. Science, technology, engineering, and math. I'm sorry, I use acronyms, so please help me out if you need me to help translate any of them. They also are doing housing. They're again trying to bring in students be more than just a commuter and online school. So you see a student center and a sophomore housing project down in Victoria. So a very, very active program coming up on our TRB cycle. So Jim's presence here is key in making those happen and executing those projects. Everybody also knows we have 2 projects here on the main campus. We have the MREB, new building for engineering and laboratories, as well as the Health and Biomed 2 building, which is in our health programs. Pharmacy, several others are going to be going to that building. Talk about Katy for a minute. Everybody's heard about Katy, right? Real estate over here cringing. We are in the process of buying 43 acres in Katy. See if we can make this work. This is the property. I know this is hard to read. This property, and this is Highway 10, and this is Highway 99, Grand Parkway. So on the corner of 10 and 99, we are buying 43 acres at that location. It was a failed development for a new mall, so we got the land. This was a competitor to the original Katy Mills, which won out, obviously. So this land's been sitting unused for a while, so we were able to purchase it. We bought 43 acres of it. We'll be building our first building there. We were giving money by the TRB for this first building. We are $46 million worth. So we are buying the land and building that first building over the next 2.5 to 3 years. So you will soon see coming soon signs. We're putting big billboards out there to announce our coming presence at the Katy location. Everybody knows we do have classes at Cinco Ranch. That facility will be transferring over to our new facility, and in the meantime, will be a leased facility because we will be selling the Cinco Ranch facility moving forward. Talk about some athletics projects. Everybody knows we've got a very active athletics program. We have a new indoor football practice facility. This was something that was very important to our program and to our consideration for any of the major power conferences to have this type of facility. It's going to be over there across from next to the parking garage across Holloman, up Holloman, parking lot. So the parking people aren't particularly happy with us. But it is going to be, as you can see here in that top picture, a large metal building with a sports field that's identical to the one that's in our stadium. So this will be where our football team will be practicing during these hot August days. So it also has a weight room and some other training facilities in the building. So it is being financed completely with donor money. It's not using any of our state funds. Athletics is out working the phones to get donations. And they've, and it's amazing what happens when you win the Peach Bowl with 11-1. Is all I'll say. So, We also are in the midst of doing the basketball arena. We recently did the practice facility, the sort of the barnacle that wraps around Hawthorne. And we will be now renovating the actual basketball arena itself. So this is a major upgrade to the facility. This facility was originally built in 1969. It's had a number of renovations since then, but if you've been in it, which I assume most of you have, you understand how dated it is in comparison to what you see at other major Tier 1 universities. So this is the sort of the last major facility for our athletics group. Again, completely with donor money, not using any state funds. So they are out, again, working the phones to get donations. We do have one major donor that has committed a $20 million to the project. So we are pressing forward. It's going to be a total of a $60 million project when we're done. I didn't mention, but the football is $20 million. Most people can probably see that. So, great project, very, very intense. In addition to the two big projects, we also have a new baseball clubhouse. Again, donor is building this facility for us. It will help the baseball team. There's going to be locker rooms as well as a small alumni area on the second floor. It is right there off the baseball field, and actually overlooks the left field area of the baseball field. Stop. One of the other big projects that many of you have probably heard about is the replacement of the quads, or housing. There's 4 buildings with 5 names on them that are our oldest housing. And this is right here in this center area here. These are the Oberhauser, Haud, that group of buildings. These buildings were built back in the 40s, early 50s. They are, and for those of you involved in these buildings at all, they leak like a sieve, air conditioning systems don't work, you name it. And my expected clapping, I think. Yeah. I think we have a permanent guy practically that runs around, does nothing but HVAC over there, and tries to keep the temperatures right. So those buildings are going to be raised to the ground, and we will be building a new $80 million facility. We will be upgrading from approximately 800 beds we have now to almost 1,200, 11 to 1,200 beds in this new facility. So this was approved by the board earlier this year, and we are just beginning the design of it. We're we should be starting construction sometime about a year from now, about this time next year. So this is a major construction to replace these older buildings. How many people have paid attention to the Chancellor's email recently, where she talks about our core renovation plan? Okay. I know many did. Dawn's over here rolling her eyes because she's the one that did all the hard work in putting together the numbers. The Chancellor is committed to renovating many of our old buildings. I've had several conversations with her. She used the words tired. Many of our original core legacy buildings are tired, and I think that's the way of saying it. We will go in, we do a lot of deferred maintenance, we'll upgrade HVAC systems, but we don't do a lot with the interiors. We don't modernize them, or we haven't gone in and done a lot of wholesale carpet, and tile, and paint. And so what you have are buildings that just look old. Right? So she is committed to upgrading these facilities. We have 7 buildings on this list right now. I think that the success of this might move us forward in looking at other buildings. I know the deans are excited to get these buildings dealt with because they are pains, just to be frank. They have a lot of deferred maintenance in them, and once we're done, we are looking at a complete modernization. So we will be emptying the buildings. That is probably the biggest element of this process. As you can, wow, what happened here? There we go. Try to keep my fingers off the buttons. So we will be completely modernizing these buildings, and we will be emptying them to do it. Okay? We're looking at relocating people at some stage as we go forward. So this is going to be a daily thing. The first building we're going to be looking at doing is the old science building. Everybody knows it's empty right now. So we're going to set that up as swing space. So we'll finish doing that, and then the next building we renovate, we will move people from that building into the old science building, and while we renovate that building. So the old science becomes our swing space going forward, because we've got to have a place to put people to be able to do this work. It's just too big and too much and too intrusive and too dirty to keep people in these buildings and do it in an efficient and effective manner. So that is going to be our goal. We're working on the schedules right now to figure out what lines up appropriately on these buildings, but it will be a major, major process. This is a 5 to 6 year process. We can't do them all at once. We're going to have to end up doing them one at a time. Yes, sir.
Which buildings are on
Good question.
this?
Excellent question. These are the buildings currently that are looking. Obviously, Old Science, I mentioned, is currently unoccupied, so it becomes our first building, and then from there on, our swing space building. You've got SNR 1. We've got, CERC. We have McElhaney, Lamar Fleming, Roy Cullen, SNR 1, and Agnes Arnold. These are the buildings that right now we identified as having the most deferred maintenance. They're, in many cases, our oldest buildings, except for CERC. And I'll talk about CERC here in a moment. And ones that are what we feel are address our core function as an academic university. CERC was added to this list because it has significant HVAC issues. It's a relatively new building. It was built core and shell, and then it was built out with 14 different projects over several years, and as a result, the HVAC systems don't play well today. So we're going to go back in and do a lot of work in CERC. So those of you that may be familiar with CERC know what I'm talking about. Okay. So we're guesstimating about a $9 million upgrade on the HVAC. Total, we're looking at over $100 million, depending on how creative my planning department can be, getting the numbers in place. So we're looking at well over $100 million to do this over the next 5 to 6 years. We are funding this work from state monies, our HEAF allocation. So this is coming from the state government. This is monies that are given to each university. We have a lot of discretion on how they're spent, but they have to be spent against deferred maintenance and facilities. They can't be used for general sort of academic salaries and that kind of stuff. So you have to be targeted towards the facilities. Anybody have any more questions? We'll get more information out. This is going to be a big process. Once we get the schedules announced, we will start working with the occupants of the buildings as to move times and move days and furniture and all the details that are going along with this as we go through the process. Any other questions? Nobody wants to ask about Farish?
What about Farish?
What about Farish? Good question. Good question. Thank you. Farish, we talked about Farish in detail. The Farish has got significant issues. It's actually one of our, if you look at our deferred maintenance and our condition index, it's actually one of our worst buildings. And the decision has been made to actually go ahead and move on from Farish. Chancellor's blessed the plan to tear Farish down at some point and actually build a new building in place of Farish. It won't be placed here. I think the concept is that this area is going to become a large plaza in the center of campus. So Farish would move out to another location on the campus. So there will be a new building at some point when it gets funded by the legislature, of course, and Farish will eventually go away. Is the long-term plan. Any questions? Any other questions? That is all I have this morning. Thank you. I'll give it back to Jackie.
Turn it back to me. Thank you.
I do need to excuse myself. Unfortunately, I have a follow-on meeting. That seems to be my life. So thank you very much. If you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to catch Jackie and or me.
Thank y'all. Thank you so much, David. Okay, we're going to go on. Rick, with Whitfield. Craig Whitfield is our manager of all the maintenance on campus. Y'all probably talked to him, or I know he's probably touched every building on campus, and he had just a few words he wanted to kind of remind you of this morning.
Hello, I'm still Craig Whitfield, if you don't know me. I wanted to go over a point that comes up very regularly with our work order system. When you guys submit a request, you get a service request number, starts with SR. Once you get an SR number, then it goes to your signature authority. We do not actually see the work order until a work order number is assigned. So I just wanted to go over, it comes up almost every day that we are getting, oh, here's our service request number, can you please start today? But we don't see the work order, we can't charge time to it, we can't order any materials unless we get a work order number. So it would actually speed the process up if you talk to your signature authority first.
What do you say?
And then talk to us. Now, if you happen to be the signature authority, then that's easy. But most requesters are not the same person as the person assigning the cost center number. Does that make sense? So that's for the entire, every work order through Famous, done through Fix-It, is operates in the same procedure. You get a service request number, then a work order number, and then it gets put into the shop's queue. So anybody have any questions on that? Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Then you can send us the work order number and says, can you start today?
Thank you, Craig.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. He said it was short. He said, I just want to get and say a few things. But I do want to say that Craig and all of, well, really probably everybody in facilities right now is doing what we call make-readies. And it's not just for the residential areas, but classrooms. And so they're very, very busy trying to get the campus ready for our students in the fall. But they're very happy to help. And I want to encourage y'all to please, when your project is finished, when your work request is finished, you'll get a final email, and it asks, there's a customer service survey attached to it. It takes very little time to fill it out, and we really use that. We're trying to build some of our metrics. If you were very unhappy, we want to hear about it. But obviously, if you're very happy, we want to hear about that as well. We really want to know what your experience is and how we can help make it better. So we're going to do a door prize. This is one of the fun parts of these meetings. Does everybody
have a ticket? Does anybody need a ticket? Yvonne, can you get, there's one. And I know what Craig was saying. I didn't know until he explained it to me that SR is service request and WO is work order. So that means they have it. That's the secret.
Well, and hopefully everybody can log in through Famous, and because as building coordinators, you can see all of the, or you should be able to see all of the work requests that are going on in your building and the status on them. If you don't ever, if that's not working, please let us know.
And my plug for the surveys is that we actually, when there's like good compliments, we put that in our employee newsletter to encourage them to continue. And we also put it on whiteboards everywhere because we love those compliments.
And we're hoping maybe it builds some healthy competition that like, hey, I want to be in the newsletter, so they're going to work even harder. If they can, they work very hard now. Okay, so door prize, and the winner is 32115.
Thank you, I want a cookie.
Oh, you know, and there's something I did not mention. This whole meeting today, one of the chief reasons we did it, obviously, is we do our quarterly meetings. But this is also our sort of end of year, but the end of our fiscal year. Thank you to all of y'all. And so you'll note on each table there's a wrapped up cookie or brownie, and there's pens. Please please take one with you when you go. That is a thank you to you. And even if you're not a building coordinator, you're here as a building coordinator partner, and that includes all of the facilities folks who are here this morning. Please take a cookie or something with you. It's just, I know it's a very small things, but what y'all do for us is, it's immeasurable, and you help make us, you help us connect to the buildings and what's going on, and it's wonderful. So that's just our little way of saying thank you, a little sweet for later in the day with your coffee, or you can eat it right now, I don't care, whichever. Okay, so next up is Krista Rick, and she actually is, she's the, when David pointed over there, she's leading our planning team. She's our interim director of planning, and I don't even know all that they do. I just know they do a wonderful job. I get to interact with them. Each of them are great. But Krista has some really good information to kind of help share what it is planning does, how strategic all of this, all these things that you see going on campus, and all the things that David talked about. So Krista, you want to come up and join us?
Good morning. Again, I'm Krista Rick, the interim director of planning right now. I'm really disappointed this isn't working because I feel like I could act like a news anchor up here if I had this.
Well, it is working. It'll be recorded.
Oh,
But
okay.
so
Well,
to
I'm
walk
just gonna
around,
put
it'll
that.
be recorded. We'll work on that next time.
Okay, next time. So basically, I have a lot of the planning team here today with me, but there's been discussions about how projects develop within the facilities planning and construction department. And so we thought this would be a great opportunity just to give you kind of a quick overview of what we see on the planning side. So this presentation is project development through the eyes of planning. And this really is, planning is the start of any project that's going to go through the facilities planning and construction department. So this would be the first stop your project's going to make. There's various avenues of how projects arrive within facilities planning and construction. The most familiar one, we're just going to go through some of these. The main takeaway from this slide is that it's not just this campus that planning is vetting the projects for, it's system-wide. So all of the component campuses, their projects over a certain dollar amount, $300,000, are coming through planning as well. So we wear many hats in our department. Just to go over the broader ways that projects come in, we'll start with the end user work request, which everybody in this room I'm sure is very familiar with. So you have, when a work request comes in, our call center does a great job vetting where the project would go, but there is a triage meeting that occurs twice a week that when projects need to be discussed, there's 3 departments that attend this meeting, minor in-house construction, general maintenance, and planning. And so at that point, the projects are allocated to what team it's going to go to. Minor in-house construction, that's going to be your smaller renovation projects that don't have any code requirements or need any architectural services. General maintenance, Craig's here, so his group can take care of, that could be something as minor as hanging pictures or something much larger. Planning steps in when it's more involved, if it's a lab project, if it's gonna need to have architectural services, we're gonna take that project over, and generally if it's over a certain dollar amount, we're gonna take that project. Another avenue that projects come in through planning is our MP1 report that Dawn does a great job every year pulling all of this together for all of the component campuses and this campus. It's the capital expenditure plan, and it's a forecast of projects for the next 5 years. On this list, it shows all new construction, renovation, repair projects, over $1 million, and it also includes any property purchases over that $1 million too. So this is, again, system-wide, that planning helps vet the projects through and come up with these lists, and it's reported to the coordinating board at the beginning of July of every year. So we just went through this process successfully. And how planning uses this is just kind of a little snapshot of the central campus, just some of the top projects on the list right now. And so we work with the provost office, the Division of Research, and come up with these list of projects. A lot of them have been on the list for several years. Some of them could jump. Athletics sometimes has one that wasn't on the list and just jumped straight, to the top of the list. So these projects move around. So I think the takeaway from this is that if you see the new College of Arts building, yes, that's at the top of the list, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually the next building. It's just at the top of the priority list. But it gives planning a way to look at all of the campuses and there's dates allocated, projection, construction start dates. So it gives us the opportunity to reach out to the client and start trying to get ahead of the game, getting the program documentation together. It gives real estate the chance if there's any land purchases that are going to be involved. So this is really for those large new buildings that you'll see on there. The next, another avenue that projects come in is through our capital improvement plan. The capital improvement plan is a short 5-year range that identifies needed campus projects. It helps develop the budget and the scope. And this is the link between the academic plan, the facility condition assessments that I'm sure everybody as a building coordinator has heard about, the facility needs assessments that are performed or sent out once a year and vetted through the capital budget. So how do projects make this capital improvement plan list? So there's several avenues, again, with this as well. Your work requests that come in every day. So we'll look back at those. Let's say at the end of the year, we look back at, let's say, Farish, for example, and we see that there's been a work request coming in consistently every other week over the year that plumbing keeps backing up in one of the restaurants. Well, planning can take that information and say, there could be something wrong with the plumbing infrastructure coming into this building. Let's look at this in more detail, and we can put that on our capital plan project list. The user needs survey, that projects can come off of that as well. And our facility condition assessment, which is a big one, which is on a rotation basis. And that really is looking at each one of the individual buildings, going in, doing a full assessment of it, looking at major failures in the building and projecting out, and smaller ones. But it gives us the opportunity to put those on this list as well based on priority. So once we have the needs identified, we vet that with the academic plan and research needs. So we work really closely with the provost office on this and the Division of Research to make sure they're viable projects. And then they kind of, at that point, take a split. So it's either going to go to on the impact prioritized list, which is, you might be more familiar with CRDM funding, deferred maintenance. That would go to that project list, or the capital project renewal. So once we identify which direction it's going to go, we're going to make sure funding is available, or that we have it on a schedule going years out, and it becomes part of our capital improvement plan. The capital improvement plan does have capital improvement projects, which are really significant repair projects between $500,000 to $2 million, and then we have our capital projects, which could come off of that MP1 report as well, which generally typically start at $4 million. So from a planning perspective, this is how we have felt for years, right? Because we have all these projects coming in from all these different avenues, and it can be very overwhelming. And so this is how I see it when I go to bed every night. There's been some ugly rumors, and a lot of times, and I apologize, because a lot of times if the project is not planned properly in planning and it goes on to the construction side of it, if there's problems that already exist here, they're going to keep they're gonna keep on when they move over to the project management side, and it's just gonna start a snowball effect. So that's why it's so important that in planning, we get it right coming out of the gate. So some of the ugly rumors that we've heard over the years are that once that initial request comes in, the contact time could be extensive, project development time is lengthy, lacking communication, and maybe the budget seems too high or too low, and we have to go back and ask for more funding. The great part is that moving forward, we realize in planning how important it is, and we really want to become more proactive than reactive, where we've been in the past since I've been here, and I've been here 9 years. So we're moving forward at this point. And so instead of having 2 planners, now we're getting ready to have 5 planners. So we're reaching out right now. We've just finished interviewing, and we have 2 new planners that will start very soon. One's already with us. These positions will be specifically related to certain types of projects, where before it was kind of like a project came in, and whichever 2 available planners could take on the workload, they would just grab it. So now it's going to be strategic, where there's going to be a planner that handles all of the deferred maintenance projects to keep those moving through. We're allowed a certain amount of money every year for deferred maintenance through this impact committee, and we just haven't really had the staff to be able to push those projects through. So just assigning the workload to each planner, you're going to see a huge difference. We are hiring a scheduler and an estimator that will join our staff too, which is really going to help turn those projects through quicker, because right now we have 1 planner that does all the estimating for us, and that's a huge responsibility to do that and try to keep projects moving. So, and then improve communications. So the idea now would be for there to be a quarterly outreach meeting to each one of the departments and colleges on the campus to get ahead of the projects. And so you'll probably start getting sick of us now. You'll get my phone calls and meeting requests, because we really want to be proactive. You're our client. If we don't have you, we're not here. So we realize that, and we hope that you'll work with us as we're going through these changes. But I definitely think very quickly you're going to see great improvements coming from planning, which is a part of FPC. So we're going to start it off great and end it great. Any questions? No? I'm going to leave my business cards right up here. Please email me with any comments, or, if you just have general questions, give me a call. We're here for you. Again, you're our client, and we're only here because we have you. Sorry, Jackie.
No, it's okay.
I don't know what, okay.
We definitely want to get some new slides so that we can, before we post.
Okay.
Thank you again, Krista. That was really helpful. I've been with facilities for 6 years now, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on. I've been primarily on the facilities services side of the house, but part of my communications and marketing role has taken on all the facilities. And so I come into these presentations anxious for information just as much as you are, because there are so many different pieces to it, and we are making a lot of changes. As she was talking about some of the new things, new people that are being added, and it's all designed to make us more responsive to y'all, because you're our customers, you're our clients. So I just wanted to add that little piece. Next up, she had a different, yeah, she made some changes, so let me get past, there's probably a quicker way to do this, but, well, we like that, I love that slide. I feel like that pretty much every day, so. So next up, we're gonna learn about, so we've learned about all of this planning and projects, and David talked about some of the purchases we're making. One of the things that I wanted to learn about this morning is our real estate office, and I happened to see their real estate map, the MAPP, and Jennifer and I were talking about it, and I was like, wow, I know you exist, But what is it, how do you do what you do? So Ashley Ross, who's the executive director of the real estate office, is gonna come tell us how they do the things they do.
Good morning, y'all. Thank you for asking us to come. I'm Ashley, and Jason Trippier, who many of you also probably know from his involvement with the Energy Research Park and the Wortham House, who is our director of University of Houston System Properties. So is also here and is going to talk as well. We are a system-wide office, and so my first thing to tell you is there is a real estate office, and there are applicable maps and SAMs and specific things that we've been charged to do by the Board of Regents before buying, selling, and leasing property. What do I? Look, there we are. Okay. So I wanted to just kind of give you an overview, and this is such an appropriate group because you are so involved and you're sort of the go-to people for your buildings, and you might hear certain things about, you know, we're not using this space, we could lease it out and make some extra money for our college, or we need more space. Where could we lease some space? We want to do a program with Lone Star College and that kind of thing, which we have many leases. We would ask that you call us. The policies that are in place ask that the real estate office be involved in all of that because there is a lot of pieces behind the scenes that need to happen in order for us to move forward with leasing space and things like that. So some of the bigger items that we've been involved in, David Oliver touched on, which is related to, since we're a system-wide office, we're helping downtown buy land, we're helping Victoria, UHV buy land, we're helping Clear Lake accept a land donation from the city of Pearland, and we're helping the system buy land in Katy. We also we're out at Cinco Ranch this week with David and a couple of people from the facilities team to look at that because Cinco Ranch is going to go on the market. If you know anyone who wants to buy a school in Cinco Ranch, again, call us, and we hope that will go quickly. We also, I think that though these are the big transactions and they're the ones that right now are sort of taking a lot of our time and involve a lot of detail, the main piece that we probably get the most involved in, I would say, is leasing. And it involves programs with Lone Star College, programs with Houston Community College, the different colleges on campus work with those, as well as, oh my goodness, you name it, the Small Business Center, just different entities. And I wanted to follow up on what Krista was talking about, that sometimes it seems like projects take a long time, and there's a lot that has to happen behind the scenes. And so that is the same also in real estate, that when we get something, there's a process of going through risk management for approval. We're talking to business services. We're talking to the attorneys on the other side. And our goal in our office is to get a document that is the business terms that you want to see, and then that reflects the legal requirements, because the university can be limited in some of the things that we can agree to do. And so we want to sort of do that as much as we can on our end, and then send that on to the contract administration office for their review and their final stamp of approval. So the other little piece that we're involved in it's kind of interesting is when we're left gift properties and mineral interest. So many times people are donating those, sometimes some excess property that perhaps won't sell for various reasons, and they just gift it onto U of H, and so we have been charged with selling some of those properties. So again, if you want to see portfolios of a couple of landlocked tracts of property in far reaches of Texas, please see us and we can talk about that. But anyway, we're happy to help you, and you're our clients, and we're here to try to make the process easier, to walk things through it, and we're sort of I think of the iteration of our office is a new iteration. That we've had an office of real estate, but what we've been tasked with doing is we're sort of getting to create that, and so we're delighted to try to get to help, and we want to keep you in the loop and communicate things. We do want you to know that as soon as you hear just a scuttlebutt about, we need to lease some space, we should lease this space, whatever, call us. And if we're not the right ones to talk to, we'll help you find out who is. That's part of our job, and we're delighted to do it. Another piece of this, and Jason can certainly, he is the go-to person on this, is the work that he does and that our office does with the Wortham House. I thought this was interesting. The Wortham House will have hosted more than 800 guests in fiscal year 2016 for various university-related functions. And the best are when they're honoring students and things like that. And so it's a broad, it's a broad spectrum. It's buying land, and it's also dealing with Union Pacific Railroad and Centerpoint. And so if if there's ever an easement issue because we're building a building and we need to move a power line or a gas line or something, that all comes through our office. So we're glad to help. And I want to just talk, Jackie and Jennifer had mentioned, what's up with this Tiger Trail? And so we wanted to just talk about it a little bit because you might have heard a piece about this. First of all, it's the Tiger Trail because that is short for Transportation Investment Generating Economic Recovery. It's a federally funded grant. It's not that we, misnamed it the Cougar Trail or something. I mean, this is a thing. So it's going to extend a segment of a shared use pass between Lawndale and OST. And I don't know if you can see, but sort of at the top section of your screen is the Energy Research Park, and then main campus over here. But right now, there is not really an easy way to connect the two, and this will certainly, this will help. This is going to create part of this is going to be a track that will allow for shuttles and carts to go back and forth and things like that. So I think that will be a wonderful thing, so we're not all hopping in our cars and driving to main campus every time we have a meeting, and people from main campus may not, we'll get to, it'll certainly have that element of sustainability, and we want that, and want to make it easier to connect the two, because some of overflow parking from the campus, and there's going to be some additional parking offered at the Energy Research Park for students, and so we want to just sort of, certainly, parking is going to continue to offer even more shuttles, but we want to just make it as easy as possible for students who, I don't know, want to rollerblade over to campus, go for it. So anyway, so this will help connect main campus with the Energy Research Park. And to that end, I want to introduce my colleague, Jason Trevere, who oversees the operation of the Energy Research Park, to come and talk to you a little bit about what's going on there. So,
thank you. Good morning. I'm sure many of you probably are familiar with ERP, but just in case you're not, so our office is what we would consider the on-site landlord for ERP, and we represent the university, and our role there is to provide sort of strategic direction for the ERP, fiscal oversight, and policy development. The office works very closely with Transwestern, and Transwestern is our on-site property management team. They focus on sort of the daily operations of the park, make sure that we have all of our maintenance taken care of. They do lease negotiations for us, and work with the tenants very closely. Some of you may know that historically ERP originally served as the Schlumberger American headquarters for drilling and technology, and it was designed and built in 1953. The park was purchased by the university in 2009, and that was at a cost of $27.5 million. The goal was to create a self-sustaining center for energy research and innovation, and we've progressed very well since 2009. And so you might be wondering, who exactly is at ERP? Currently, ERP makes up 77.5 acres of land. We have 15 buildings. We have 1,286 parking spaces, and we're about to add an additional 1,000 temporary parking spaces. And we have 692,000 square feet of industrial office and classroom space. Current tenants include academic departments, administrative offices, and commercial tenants. Currently, we have 546 offices, 4 classrooms, 19 research labs, and 418 staff members from the university are housed at ERP. It's a very dynamic environment, and it provides an integral support to university operations. It's a home to cutting-edge technology and innovation, and provides financial stability through our long-term industrial tenants. Let's see. So some of the recent renovations, if you haven't visited, Building 4 is a very exciting building to be in. That was completed in 2012, and that was for the Division of Research. And in that building is called the Innovation Center, and so we have small startup companies. They will come in and lease space on a temporary basis to get their businesses off the ground, and they work closely with the university. And the renovation included one of our amenities on the park, and that's our mini mart. So if you're ever there and you need to grab lunch or a quick snack, feel free to please stop in, because Building 4 has that nice resource for you. And then our most recent renovation was Building 5. That was completed in May 2015, and this is our largest project to date at $13 million, and this was Building 5 and 5A. It was also developed and funded by the Division of Research, and it's for startup business ventures that create innovations, and this is in a wet lab environment. They'll be hosting their grand opening in August, so you might want to stop over, and because once the building gets its tenants in there, you actually won't be able to access the building any longer because of the type of research they'll be doing. So if you have the opportunity to stop over before it gets off, that would be a good idea. And that's sort of ERP in a nutshell. We appreciate you allowing us to share some information, and certainly if you have any questions, we're happy to help. And anytime, feel free to email us or call us, and the Office of Real Estate is here to provide those services. Thank you.
Yes.
Because maybe for your office, it may not, as a building coordinator or facility manager, whatever you can call it, sometimes a lot of our faculty are running grants. And they say as part of this grant, we have IDC, or we're supposed to have in-kind contributions. In 2017, I'm going to have 10 rooms used dedicated to this for a month. How do I budget that out or charge that out to show what we're charging the grant for these rooms? Would that come from you, or who did that come from? Who did that estimate come from?
I think it would generally be, I would start with business services, and in my area, it would be, could also be.
I mean, if it's an academic building, we don't, we're not involved in sort of the numbers for running academic buildings.
Okay.
Yeah, that would definitely be more of a business service question.
What's the timeline on the Tiger Trail?
It was originally supposed to be completed in October. There's been some delays, so I think it's probably going to be more like November or December.
And I'm curious, is it, pardon me.
Yeah.
What is it made of? Is it like asphalt or, I'm just curious.
Yes.
Trail makes it sound a little more woodsy.
It doesn't, makes it sound like it's.
No, it'll be a hard surface
A hard-
path.
hard
It'll
surface
be
path.
divided. So one side will be for footpath, and one side will be for car path, each of them 10-foot wide and 20 foot tall.
Awesome. That's great. And it runs along the bayou or bayou?
Yes.
And so I think it looks like it should be a very pretty, like, pathway to go.
And this federally funded grant, any work that you're seeing around the monies, that's where it's.
All connected.
Trying to connect them all, so.
It should be, it's interesting, but thank y'all. That was very interesting. When I first started here, ERP, I mean, it existed, but we just didn't know much about it. And it's really, I think, developing a really nice identity and truly part of our campus. So thank y'all so much for sharing all of that. So it's time for another door prize. Does everybody still have their little red ticket, your raffle ticket? So here we go. The winner this time is 32114. Awesome. All righty, we're going to keep rolling right along here, and we have two individuals from Key Access Services who are going to talk to you about a very important audit that's coming.
Thank you, Jackie. Good morning, everybody. My name is Penny Brungart, and I'm with Key Access Services. I used to be with the lock shop for, I'll just say, a lot of years. How's that? This is Lawrence Dang. He's application developer 2, correct? Mm-hmm. He's the gentleman that did the online key request, and he's also doing the campus audit. I can't tell you how long we've wanted to do this. He's also a student. He was a student, now he's working full-time, so go Cougs. How long have you worked here?
I worked here about maybe 3.5 years in total.
So he's made this happen. I just want everybody to know when you do an online key request form, it's because of this gentleman right here. First of all, Roland is not here. He's on vacation. Thanks, Roland, for that. As you see, we have our Key Access Service email address if you need us. Everybody knows where we're located, correct? General Services. On October 3rd, the annual campus audit will be available for certifying signature and the assigned keyed auditors. You'll log on to Access UH and select the Fix-It icon and look for the Key Audit tab instructions. This audit will end in the end of October. Oh, yeah, turn this over. No, I didn't, sorry. And this is what I'm going to do is just highlight this, because as you can tell, I'm not really good at speaking in public. So there's 3 basic steps for this audit. The certifying signature will assign key auditors. The auditors assigned will receive an email about the audit and that it is assigned to them. That's the first step. The key auditor will complete the audit during the month. And like I said, none of you may be involved in this and all of you may be involved. It all depends who is assigned. What's that? Okay. The certifying signature will review the audit, approve if correct, and release it back to the Key Access Services for further handling. The certifying signature will contact Key Access Services for return key pickup. This year, we're going to come and get these keys from you. This is the time to get all those keys out of your desk, out of the cabinet, out of your cookie jar. I get asked all the time, what do I do with these keys? We're going to pick these up. This is going to be a big undertaking. But now's the time. Now, after this, this will become the key holder's permanent record. Certifying signatures can also access the key manager through Fix-It, Access UH anytime during the year to run reports for their department. So we're going to do it on a yearly basis, but anytime during the year you can do it yourself if you want to be proactive. You don't like the month of October, whatever. But you do have to do it again in October and at least approve it and that kind of thing. So this information will be on the website for building coordinators. When you do the audit, there'll be a help button. We're here to help you through it in any kind of way. Do you guys have any questions? Sure.
Would there be any way for us to actually be able to print out what we're going to each employee and check on if they have these keys? Is there any way, I know you said running reports, but most.
Okay. I'm sorry, I've gotten ahead of myself. So, right here, on page 10, the employees, you're going to select keys for them. So you're going to have a whole page. Keys that are returned. Hold on. There's going to be keys in hand. Keys that are returned. Okay, first of all, in hand means the employee is in the possession of the key. So you check that box. And the key's there, and you can even click on the view rooms and see what that key opens. Is that kind of hard to see? Okay. Lost means the employee no longer has the key or it has been lost. Return, the employee no longer needs the key and it would be returned to key access services. Those keys, what we want you to do is you print this paper, it has all the information on there, and tape them to the paper. The keys, we'll return them when we'll come and pick them up. Go to number 9. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Yes. When you pull up, when the auditor pulls up the department that they've been assigned, they'll click on the department and all those folks will be generated with the PeopleSoft number, with the keys that we think they have. If they don't have the keys, you can check lost. We even have a box that if the employee's not available at that time, you can check that, like maybe they're on FMLA, whatever. So, what else? I'm skipping some things apparently here.
You said the keys that are just bulk keys that we have that maybe are not signed. Just wants to take them back to the page and say it's just empty keys.
Right, so the employee has 20 keys and wants to return 10 of them, but they're not on their list. You can generate in that Excel right there and say, this key, this key, this key, this key, tape them to the paper, and we'll bring them back. You can also add employees if they're not in that department, and they should be. You put in the PeopleSoft number, and then you can add the keys that they have. So once that's completed, the certifying signatures will go and approve the ones that were lost or the ones that are added. The ones that are in hand, we assume that's fine. You know, you don't want to look at every one of those keys because they've already got the key. But if there's something happening to that key, whether it's returned, lost, or something, we want the certifying signature to know that. So if it's a really important key, you might say, hey, we need to do a lock change. Or it's not, okay, that's fine. We're just going to move on. So what else we got? So once the audit is done, and like I say, we want to get it done by the end of the month, and so have the whole month. We were trying to make it so most folks were here because we thought about doing it in the summer when but nobody's here. So that's not going to work. Go ahead. Yes, you do. 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 Yes, you do.
It doesn't have to be assigned to a person for your
You know, if you have a bulk of them, just give them to us. You know? Now, if you have a lot of keys in your name and you have a jar, you might want to just say, hey, look, you know. Mm-hmm. And obviously not every key holder is going to have a page printed for them. It's just the ones that you're returning keys, because we don't want to do a lot of paper. But we have to have the information to return them. So that's why so nobody has to handwrite all this out. He's made it so you can just print it and then take the keys to it.
So when one of the questions, when the employees terminate, obviously I send the keys back to you guys. So they should no longer be on the list. When I previously returned keys to you, they're taken out of the system.
That is correct. That is correct. And he's here for the technical part of this, so if I'm wrong, correct me. So when the audit starts in October, the key holders are going to, you know, the keys are live. So if you pick up keys in the middle of October during the audit, it's going to populate this in here, but not people. So if you get a new staff member in October and you want to do the audit, you're going to have to add them in because it's not going to, it updates, what is that called, live?
Right.
Right. It updates the keys, but not the person.
If we run into an employee who has a key, is not on your sheet, do you want to add it?
Yes, definitely, definitely. And that field, you can either search for the key or type it in. Oh, hey, I knew you'd have a question, what?
So up until last year, I have a few reports from last year. It was still contained people that were still on y'all's list, but hadn't been here in forever. So the list that y'all are going to be generating now, is that only going to be current employees?
It's whatever we have in our database at this time. So if this person, let's say the person's not here any longer and it's generating in your department, you don't have the keys, I would put lost, or, you know, because you don't have the keys. You don't have, you know, the person's no longer here. We show that that person still has those keys and are not here. We just want to make sure the certifying signature knows that we have no idea where those keys are, but we want to take that person out also. You know, not take them out, but, you know, take them out, take them off the list. You know what I mean? Because they left the university. So does that make sense? Does that make sense? Or what is your?
We're gonna find out when it's actually employed. When I actually start using the thing, then I'll know what.
Right. And this is the first one. And it's the first annual one. It's the first audit campus-wide that I know of. In the past, departments have ran different reports on their own. Probably you have, and done it on their own. But this is the very first time. This is going to be a huge undertaking. Obviously, we've looked at this, but I'm sure there's something that we have overlooked. But every year we're going to get better at this, and hopefully it's perfect, right? But remember, Key Access Services, we're here to help. We're here to serve. Whatever you need, you can type, you know, you can email us, you can go to the key request form, call us, whatever you need. We'll help you with it. Anything else?
Is there going to be an extra charge for lost keys that someone's supposed to have?
No, we don't charge for lost keys any longer. What we do, at one time, we used to charge for lost keys, and then mark them returned, which was kind of counterproductive. And then a certifying signature, somebody paid us $2. This was years ago. Somebody paid us $2 and they were terminating. We take the $2 and check it returned, even though it was lost. You would never know that that key was never returned. So we feel it's more important now to tell them, hey, this key was not returned with the E-terms. Everybody's familiar with those, right? Where you get the E-terms, the people are leaving and the keys are listed, and we let you know, hey, this person, this is past their termination date. They haven't turned in these keys. So then it's up to the certifying signature, hey, we have a problem here. Let's change the locks, or hey, that's fine. Those keys are not important. It was to a conference room, not concerned about it. So we only charge for keys when you pick them up and we cut them. That's the only time you charge for keys. It's $10 a piece, unless you're an FM employee.
So is there a reason why you're waiting until October 3rd for everybody? Can you start it randomly with certain colleges so we can kind of get ahead of the game? Or is there a reason why it's in that 4-week span?
You can run a report, certifying signatures, you can run a report for their department any time of the year if you want to start earlier. But it won't be in this format where you're completing it. We picked the month of October because it wasn't August, it wasn't September. We know how busy everybody is at the beginning of the year. Yes, hold on, just 1 second. So that's what we came up with. We're going to do it, we're going to go from October 3rd is the first business day. It's going to be available October 1st, but you won't be able to run the report or won't be there in your queue until October 3rd. You know, if we, you know, after the fact, I'm sure we're going to, when we come and pick up these keys, we're going to get a lot of input, and that's what we want. If it comes up that it needs to be another month, another time, this doesn't work, we can certainly look at that. None of this is written in stone. We just have to start somewhere. Somewhere. Does that answer your question, sir? Yes, ma'am. Okay. What we could, that was it? Anything else? Yeah, Jessica.
So the certified signature can access key manager through Fixit and access UH at any time during the year to run reports.
Yes.
My certified signature really isn't gonna care. That's gonna be, you know, that's my thing. So,
You want to know if you can get key manager tab on yours? Is that what?
right, I know she's not gonna wanna, she's got her other stuff.
Right.
I don't know how it works in other departments, but that would be specific to something that I would do. So, I think.
Is that something they can contact us or?
Right.
So if your certifying signature doesn't do it or wants somebody else to do it, just have her or him email me with the designator or the designee, and just email me that name, and then I'll give the tab to you.
Why do you have that pain look on your face? You're like this.
Oh, it's the same way in our building, like 2 years ago, he said, Tim, I never want to deal with this, scary.
Right.
It's you, it's certified signature.
So what you guys are saying is we've got a report out there that nobody's using because the certifying signatures aren't, they have more, probably.
May not be their wheelhouse.
Right, got it.
We're not a wheelhouse.
Well, and these are really good reports. The reports, what it has, who has this key, what key to room does this open, by building. There's several things, and it runs the report for your department. So there's a lot of good information. So that being said, if email, but it has to come from the certifying signature so we can give you that access and permission.
Is that something y'all can share at when the CDAs meet, when the certifying signatures meet? I know y'all have
We've already done that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Roland's presentation was a little more thorough.
She said, can you add more people?
You talking about for the key manager during the year?
Yeah, I can add as many people as you want. Yeah.
We just need your permission to do so.
So yeah, if building coordinators will let their certifying signatures know that that's all they have to do is email y'all, then that would get you added. Which would be good.
I mean, it's kind of like a space office, right?
Yeah.
And I'm really glad you mentioned that, because these things are very tied together these days. If we don't have the correct space, the correct department that's linked to that room, the signatures now go to another person that has no idea why I'm being sent that, because that's not my space. Oh, yes, it is, according to space. So these things are really intertwined now. So maybe where it wasn't important a long time ago, but really was. It's really important now. Yes, yes, because the certifying signature and the permission levels come from the department and the actual room space. Anything else? Like I said, this will be on this presentation in the manual will be on the building coordinator's website. It's going to be up when you do the audit. There's a step-by-step what you're doing, click on, and it's very user-friendly. It has drop-downs. It's awesome. I've been waiting for this for years. Yes?
I got one more question. Just maybe opening up a can of worms.
We love worms. Go ahead.
A lot of times a person leaves, and the person we take that same spot over again. Obviously, right now, the role is we turn a key, we get
That's called transferring, and
But now with a system in place,
no, we can't do it with the system. Apologies. And in the past,
that's part of waste. You know, I know you melt them down.
right.
Time-wise,
Well, I've been here 35 years. A long time ago, we had paper forms, duplicates, you rip them off. I'm sure everyone in this room would make sure every key transferred would get to us and the information correct and all that. It just doesn't happen that way. They get busy, here's my key.
every year, I know we're doing this audit every year.
Mhm.
It would automatically catch itself up if there was an issue, quote unquote, because you'll be doing the audit once a year anyway, so the report will be accurate moving forward. The system's gonna take over from you having to worry about, hey, this person's got a key all of a sudden.
Not necessarily if you do it in November, so, do you see what I'm saying? And we want to know who has the keys for audit purposes, so, I know.
Cost one, we have a big budget, okay?
That's good.
That's something to keep on the table, though, maybe for future consideration.
Yes.
Maybe.
See, that's what it tells me this.
Well, but for key control, it's not good business, not for key control, and we're really trying to get control of our keys and not have you storing them in the desk for when the person comes, and we're trying to get away from that. But I understand, because I understand. Sir? Yes, sir.
I'm just thinking, I get a lot of responses saying we never got that key, we never received that key. I know you said you put loss on a lot of those, but how would we handle that situation if we run into a lot of people that just tell us they never received the key? Would you just take that off the list, or?
Well, if they're on the list, if they say they never received it and they're on the list, something happened. So either somebody picked that key up for them, somebody signed for that key, that's fine. If you don't have the key, as far as I'm concerned, it's lost. If you don't know where it is, it's lost. So put that on there. The certifying signature is going to review all of them and say, not a problem, that's a big problem. If you don't have this key to this lab, we need to change the lock. So that's what our purpose is to make sure they know that these keys are not in hand and we have a record for them. So if it's a lot, it's a lot. But I think this first year is going to really take up a lot of that slack, or it should. And these will be considered permanent key. This is going to be your permanent key record.
Anything else? All right, thank you so much,
Oh, thanks.
y'all. That's very helpful. Thank you.
I don't know about the thank you. Oh, I think that's yours.
Thank you so much, y'all. That was really helpful. I know it's really something they've been working on, and communication is key for a lot of this. Sorry for that pun, but communication is key. But that there will be communications that will come out reminding, probably in the building coordinator corner, just reminding people of the audit. And if you can get at it, I think that would be really helpful, because y'all do know, your buildings and you know who's in them and all of that. I wanted to talk briefly about a couple of things that we've got coming up. You'll begin to see more information about a program called Cougar Lights. It's on our website, it's on our social media. The university is going to start pushing it. And what it's all centered around is the fact that our beautiful fountain is being renovated, even as we speak. And it's not the only fountain that's being renovated, but right now it's the largest one on campus, of course. It's being renovated. It's going to reopen in time for the spring semester. And it's not just the fact that the fountain's going to it won't be leaking, everything will be great about it, but they're installing some really phenomenal lights, replacing the lights that were in the fountain. And so Cougar Lights is the inaugural, it's the debut of what's been done, and the ability that the lighting will have You can, like, it's a rainbow color, so you can have red for any kind of athletic game. The lights can be pink for breast cancer awareness, or it can be green. And it's just it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful feature on campus. Cougar Lights is the name of the lighting system. And so to inaugurate it and roll it out to campus, it's going to be on the first Friday of the semester, which is August 26th at 9 p.m. You're welcome to come out. It's actually going to start probably around 8 because we're going to have food. The chancellor is going to be speaking at 9 o'clock, and there's going to be fireworks, and the university band, there's like something, it's called Spirit of Houston, is going to be out there performing and giving some background. Shasta may be there, the Cougar Dolls. It's going to be like, I guess, sort of like a huge pep rally, and it's all centered around the fountain. The chancellor is going to have a button or something that she's going to push that will turn on the Cougar Lights. So you're more than welcome to come join us. I have to admit, I've never been on campus at 9 p.m., so this will be my first time. But it's going to be exciting. They're working really hard. But I mentioned, it's not the only, I don't know if I have a, it's not the only fountain. We're actually updating and refreshing all of the fountains. Craig's group is working on, we call it the Moon Pool, but it's the one over by Student Service Center. So it's getting refreshed. Patrick is going to be really nice. They're painting it, and I think making some repairs, maybe some coping repairs. Same with the koi pond, which is over by the architecture building. There was a fountain that is now going to be working again, and then Cheyenne Fountain, which I was like, oh, I'm not sure which one that is. That's in Butler Plaza, and it's just being there. I didn't know this. We actually have a fountain maintenance person who their job is to go around and vacuum them and clean them and make them look nice. But so all of our water features, well, almost all of our water features, are getting a refresh, and they're just going to look nice. And the interesting thing, the Moon Pool, which is the one over that little flat, shallow pool, Craig's group is draining it, and then they're going to paint it the same color as the bottom of the larger fountain, of Cullen Fountain. So I know you've probably heard about this for the last couple of years. The fountain's going to be fixed. It's going to be fixed. Well, this time it's actually going to be fixed. And as I said, to sort of roll it out, we've come up with this program called Cougar Lights, and we hope maybe it's something that's done every year, just to kind of show off what the fountain can do. But as that is Friday, that's the first Friday. Okay, so I want to just talk briefly, kind of like what Craig was doing. In working with facilities planning and construction more, we're getting involved, or we're aware of a lot more long-term outages. We've talked about in these meetings now for the last couple of years about the electrical outages we do. Actually, this weekend there is the steam outage, so a number of buildings on campus will be without hot water. You should have gotten that outage communication. And then there was a list attached to the buildings who aren't impacted. That steam outage is going to start tonight at 11 p.m. and it should be through by Sunday at 5 p.m. or something.
The outage says 5, they may come back up a little sooner, but we're coming by time.
Yeah. And then, so the buildings who are impacted will have cold domestic water, so you can flush toilets and sinks and take cold showers. But there will be no hot water during this outage. So we've had those. Those have been very facility services related ones. But what we've developed over time is, and again, like working with facilities planning, there are long-term outages that occur. We've started to add things like when roads are closed, that's a road outage, a road closing outage, when something's going to be fenced off. And we're doing that to try to communicate to the campus community, okay, so folks, you may have to change your route. There's construction going on here. But when we have some, right now we have what's been a fairly long-term repair of the Fleming elevator. Well, Fleming has one elevator, and it's been broken and out because we had to come in and completely replace the elevator jack. And so all of the users in these buildings want to know what the update is. We have several in e-Cullen, and so I just wanted to let you know that when you go to our outage notification page, over on the side now, we've added long-term outage updates. And if you were to click on any of those, it will give you it's generally probably a weekly. So there's one for the fountain, so there's a weekly outage notification. And the reason we do that because for the fountain, there's been some really loud noises. I think when they sandblast, there's been some dust particulate in the air. So it's just another way for us to try to communicate. That list will probably grow as things get finished. So like once the fountain's done, then it can come off the list. But if you happen to be in a building that has a long-term outage and your users are, say we're in Farish, and so there's something that is being worked on Farish, and you want to help your users know, you might get the outage form, but they also can go back on their own and click on the outage link for them for that particular project without necessarily having to contact you and say what's going on. You can direct them to our outage calendar page, which is off of our facility services page. So I just wanted to share that with you. Let's see, the inspection reports, you might think we're talking about the inspections that are done in your building, but actually what this is in reference to, and it is our last item, I guess we saved the best for last, but it has to do with the campus carry inspections that Dr. Mesa has asked everybody to do. It's the exclusion document. And one of the things, I just happened to be out on our website, and I went to the bottom of the page. Oh, we don't have it here. You know what? We're getting low on time. But if you go to any of the U of H pages, so like go to your page and you go to the bottom where the campus directory and the campus maps, there's that laundry list of things you can select. They actually, I think it's the second one in the first column, they actually have a link for campus carry. So I clicked on it, and it's great because it takes you to the police department page. It has the contact information. It has a link to the map, the map that kind of explains all of this and has that list of exclusions. Your building may not have any exclusions. General services buildings has no exclusions, and so we have none of the signage up. But Jennifer, as our building coordinator, actually submitted the report saying there's no issues. Before Dr. Mesa was here, so she was going to field your questions. Well, she had to leave, so she told me to tell y'all that it's very important that you turn in your inspection report that's due, I guess it's due today, or due the 1st.
It was due Monday.
Actually, it was due Monday, excuse me, but she is still accepting them. And she told me to tell y'all that at 3 p.m. today, she's only gotten 25% of the building reports back in. And at 3 p.m. today, for any of the buildings that she hasn't received, she's sending emails to the deans and the vice presidents. So that's her message. Don't kill me, I'm just the messenger. So it's really, really, really important, and she needs those reports. I think in the email that came from our office from Jennifer about this, I think the next two dates were, the next two bi-monthly dates are
5th and 19th.
which one?
5th and the 19th.
The 5th and the 19th of August.
If a building's exempt,
Yes.
still send it.
You
Yes.
still have to send it.
I had to do it. General Services has no signs and no exclusions, but you still need to submit it.
And she attached the form.
It's on the email I
It's on
sent
the
this
email.
week. It has the form attached. So just open up that PDF and you fill out no,
You click on a box.
everything's good in your name.
Yeah. If there are problems, then you'll have to submit those. Yeah, Patrick. Yeah. I mean, this is the first go around, and I mean, this is something new, so, yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes. And I will tell you that the form, so if you have issues, the form doesn't have a box for you to, because it's an online form, so I guess you have to send an email with your issues, but it's very, very important, and so that's why when she left, she apologized and said she was going to be here to field any questions, because we're just the messengers for this communication. But as I said, she's going to start notifying deans and vice presidents. So if you've already done it, you're golden. But if you haven't, and you need the form, you can go back and look for, it probably came from Facilities Communications. So look for an email from Facilities Communications, the form is attached. But you can also go to the Campus Carry link on the bottom of your page, and that link, the form is there as well. And it's, like I said, it was great. I love the fact that they put it right there. I didn't have to remember where the map was or anything. That's it for today. And again, you know, because I realized y'all do things like the key audits, and you're doing things now like this, the Campus Carry inspection reports. Again, a cookie or a brownie or something is a small thank you, but it is a very, they're very weighty in our thanks. Jennifer and I appreciate everything you do. Everybody in facilities appreciates what you do. And if you happen to be in a building where the signs were falling down and coming off the walls, I don't know if anybody's noticed the Campus Carry signs falling off.
They're for exclusions. So
So if y'all
yes.
have some exclusions, then I would contact Dr. Mesa, Dr. Emily
Yeah.
Mesa.
So if
That
there's
would
an
be-
area that's excluded, let her know, because
Yeah.
then they need to get those signs up.
Yeah,
And they're trying to do it by August 1st, which is
Monday. But yes, if you,
yes.
yes. And as I said, some of the signs were not sticking, and so Kimberly Burks and two of our key lock shop guys have spent the last couple of days taking, like, I don't know, liquid nails or something, putting them on the backs of the signage and sticking them back up. And they were doing an audit to make sure that the signs were placed in the correct position. So if you have any issue with any of that, and that's where this form is supposed to let you say, and you know, Golda, for you, you might want to do the form and say, well, my issue is I need some of the signs. And there is a list of the exclusions for each building on that website, so that'll maybe help as well. And I think if you had a building that you thought should have some exclusions, I think there's a form you can submit as well, sort of like, hey, we have some. A lot of information this morning. Hopefully it was really, very, very helpful. We strive and work really hard to make sure that it is always really relevant information for you. And I appreciate that we appreciate everything you do. And we have one last door prize. And so
we have to hit somebody that's here.
Yes, I know. Well, you know, if they leave, then they don't get to have a fun door prize. Okay, so hopefully right off the bat. So 32295. 295. Woohoo! Yay! That's great. That's great. Oh,
yeah. That's
sorry, I didn't. This was so. If you have any questions about any of the information, these slides will be put up on the building coordinator website. I'm sure probably by the end of the day. We have to incorporate some new ones that Krista brought, but lots of good information. Please feel free to reach out to Jennifer and I to ask any questions. We appreciate you coming so much. And take some food. Make sure you take your thank you and take some food. Grab a burrito or something. I needed to catch you. Go ahead and take your trash. I need to catch you.